The Last Roundup
Horror Show.
You see, when a man bleeds, it's just tissue. The blood from one of you things won't obey when it's attacked. It'll try and survive. Crawl away from a hot needle site.
Get me out of here. Cut me loose. Cut me the hell. Come on, get me out of here. Come on, get me out of here. Cut me loose, damn it.
This is the Last Roundup Horror Show. I'm Frank. This is Jason. That is Jared. And we are back in the saddle again. Up first, seems weird to start with this one, but The Thing from 1982, John Carpenter's.
Why is it weird to start with?
Because we're going to start at the top of the ladder and work our way down.
This is probably the best of the bunch.
Well, then do it. Waits or Blood Harvest.
Let's not get into it. We just sat here for 15 minutes trying to. The Thing, 1982. Summary: a research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims. Directed, of course, by John Carpenter. Written by Bill Lancaster. Known for basically
John Campbell.
Well, I'm getting him.
Mosquito.
There's mosquitoes in here.
There's a dead one on your arm.
Yeah, I'm gonna deal with that later. Bill Lancaster, known for anything Bad News Bears related. Did you see that? He wrote everything.
I've seen Bad News Bears.
The old one, the new one, the TV series, everything. And based on a short story by John Campbell Jr., who I think it's a story called Who Goes There?
Who Goes There? Good job, Frank.
Little side note here, there is a X-Files episode that is a direct homage to this movie.
You call it whatever you want.
Swing and a miss.
So I think it's season 1, episode 8.
2 strikes.
I like how he paused and was like, I got it this time. Homage.
Anyways.
Nailed it.
How you say homage?
Homage. Like fromage. French for cheese.
There's probably a few arguable ways to say that one.
Homage. Homage, baby.
The way you said it is none of them.
Mater. All right, come on, let's.
Anyways, this is honestly, this is probably the first time I've watched this all the way through.
Well, let me hold on here. We got a tagline.
Oh, he's got stuff this time.
Anywhere, anyone. It's distributed by Universal Pictures, and this has a couple of Blu-ray releases. Arrow has an amazing release, and Scream Factory does too. And I had the Scream Factory release, and it was like I watched it for the first time all over again. But go ahead.
This kind of was my first time watching this all the way through, because when we were all hanging out, you guys had fucking already seen it. Like, you already all watched it, I'm pretty sure. And no one ever popped it in, I don't think, when I was around. And I rented it myself one time.
Is he blaming us?
So it's our fault.
I think.
No, I'm just saying by happenstance.
I'm feeling like
I think he's hassling us.
hurting my feelings.
No,
right
I'm not.
now.
I'm not.
You guys never put it in. Everybody had watched it.
No one said anything about it.
No one ever told me it was
just
good. I even remember saying we should watch The Thing. You guys were like, fuck you.
No, that's not it at all. I'm just saying that by happenstance, I had. But regardless, I rented it myself. But it's so slow to get into stuff that I kind of I was a kid and I turned it off. So this was my first time watching it all the way through. I'm sure I've watched half of it, but. Awesome cast. Let's run them down, man. You got Kurt Russell.
Got him.
You got yourself a Wilford Brimley without a mustache. That's weird, isn't it? That's weird. Keith David, of course, from They Live and Requiem for a Dream. And Community. Have you seen him on Community?
He was Spawn in the Spawn cartoon, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But
have you
Community,
seen him?
the TV series?
The last season of it, which is on Hulu now. He plays a guy called Elroy that makes like shitty computer software. He's really funny in it. But you got your Richard Mazer, who you might remember from It. He plays the adult Stanley.
He was also in Mr. Boogedy, wasn't he? Was he in that?
Yeah, I think he was.
I think it was the
Good
dad
Lord.
in Boogedy.
Donald Moffat, who you'll remember from Trapped in Paradise, Clear and Present Danger, and the Popeye movie. And the dog, actually, that's in the beginning of this movie was the
best
White Fang.
dog, huh? What was it?
White Fang.
Best dog actor ever. He played White Fang too.
In both the White Fang movies.
Great,
In both of them.
great dog actor.
Well, it's weird credits because
He's
like,
a good dog.
It's it's both the White Fang movies, and then there's a Dead Kennedys movie that he's credited in for whatever reason. But for 1982, these fucking effects are like
Top of the
damn.
line.
And you
This
think about
is top
other,
of the line practical effects.
Think about
They still hold up well today.
think about other movies we have watched on this show from 1982. Last time, Basket Case compared to this movie. Wow. Wow. Hey, Doc. The dog kennel sequence was fucking awesome. The monster that fucking bites the doctor's arms off, that's pretty fucking insane. And then
all of it.
It's all great.
the head spider, good lord. The whole thing. Yeah.
Kurt Russell.
And Wilford Brimley, when he loses
Just Kurt Russell.
yeah, when Wilford Brimley loses his mind and he starts smashing everything up with an axe, I fucking love that. You don't get that enough. You don't get enough crazy Brimley.
Yeah. Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, maybe. Is the Crazy Cajun.
And of course, we had mentioned that when we watched We Are Still Here, they referenced this movie with the J&B bottle that never fucking ends, which that he's drinking it through the whole fucking movie, beginning to end.
B&J, they just switched it around. Same bottle though, same look.
Yeah, this isn't my favorite movie in this trilogy. I mean, it's fucking fantastic. But it's not. I don't think it's as good as the other ones, in my opinion. I think the thing that gets me is the soundtrack. It's like, it's not Carpenter, but it's like Carpenter.
It's not Carpenter.
It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same.
It's
to me.
like him, but it's not.
But I asked people to email us about this. Of course, nobody did. Thank you for that. What do you think happens after the credits go? What do you think happens?
I never put a lot of thought into it.
No.
I didn't need to know.
Did you play the PlayStation game?
No.
I did.
You see,
Great game.
it is really good. You see Childs, his body, and it's next to the whiskey bottle. And then I never got very far in the game, but that McCready comes back at the end and helps you fight some big thing, but comes back in a helicopter.
I always took it as there's kind of one or two possibilities. One of them is an alien, or neither of them are. Obviously,
Right.
both aren't. But either way, there's nowhere to go without freezing.
Yeah.
So
Very bleak, like completely.
yeah,
That would suck.
What do you mean no other place to go?
there's nowhere to go. The
gotta
fire's
die.
dying down. The camp's burnt.
Well, someone else might come.
They're in.
I'm just saying, it wouldn't take nothing to keep this movie going. Put
Yo,
a
you
a
could
sequel out.
you could write something, but I mean, realistically,
Realistically, after all that just happened,
where they're at, it's not like there's a lot of traffic that goes through that area.
It's true.
right? But someone knows they're out there.
And the temperatures are so low.
Yeah, they're attached to somebody.
Yeah, the temperatures are so low. As soon as that fire goes out, you freeze within hours.
That fire could have lasted a
So
long time. It was full of kerosene.
I always just assumed both of them freeze. Either one's an alien and it goes into stasis or whatever again.
I think a chopper comes back and they make it.
Could be.
You can make it whatever you want.
We could.
The chopper.
Well, they did make a. They made
You
a,
could make it where Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Have
comes
either of you
back in
guys
the
watched
chopper. The guy from Predator, playing his character from Predator, comes in and it's like, dude, I've been fighting aliens too. Get in the
what is
chopper,
up, man.
I mean, you could do it. So
have you seen the newer one that's like a prequel or whatever?
yes,
Okay. I've heard good things and bad things about that, but regardless, this movie I gave a 9 out of 10. It's not. I don't think it's. For me, it's not as good as the other two that we watched. What were the
man,
other two?
none of these got 310s, did they? They were all like 2 10s and a 9.
Something like that. Yeah.
The other two, I think, is an 8 and a 9 for me.
You gave one of them a 10, didn't you?
I don't think so.
You don't be handing them out very easy.
I think a 9. I wouldn't have given it a 10 because
You didn't give Prince of Darkness a 10?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was thinking that each one got 2 10s and a 9. Maybe I'm wrong.
I almost always give Carpenter 10, but just the lack of him being on the soundtrack and what else did I write down?
I know I gave Prince of Darkness a 9.
The pacing's a little bit slower than I'd like, but don't. I mean, and also it's an alien thing. I'm not usually big on, but for an alien movie, fucking fancy, amazing. But Jason, what else you got? Any other thoughts?
I got some things to say.
All right.
This was regarded as a critical and financial failure. Roger Ebert even said that there's no need to see it.
That's dumb.
And it was nominated for a Razzie for the worst musical score.
That's hilarious. Well, I heard Ebert hated horror, and it must have killed him because Siskel gave Carnosaur like a thumbs up. Carnosaur. Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, I watched the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and it was, I swear, it's like it's been a while since I've seen it, but it was like I was watching it for the first time. Like it looks beautiful, and the first time I've seen it in 5.1 surround, so gunshots are ringing out, helicopters are flying over. Like it was just almost like I almost had a theater experience with this, so that was awesome. But yeah, the cast is great. I like the music. The film location created some dread and claustrophobia, being in a few rooms. Any horror movie that's set in the winter is going to be that's some pluses right there for me. The practical effects were amazing. Great body horror. With the pacing, I think that had to do a lot. Maybe something of them interacting with each other, creating that paranoia, like they don't know who's who, and it's probably one of the best, if not the best, monster movies of all time, I feel. The only thing that was a little bit dated in the whole entire movie is the very first scene where
the chess
the ship
computer?
is flying in. The what?
The chess computer that he was playing.
Oh yeah, what?
It was just like it was like a full-fledged computer that said like chess, whatever.
Like when the doctor is like simulating the cells, like. Is he typing this stuff in, or is this computer telling him all this information? Because it was awful.
Any computer stuff's always
that was awful. But no, I love this movie. It's probably in my top 10, and I gave it a 10.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys covered everything. I don't think there's much else to go over. Obviously, everyone will always make note of the practical effects. This is kind of, one of the pinnacles of great practical effects, and I give it a 10 too. I mean, it's Kurt Russell and John Carpenter, which is
here's another Kurt Russell.
This is Jim.
He's not in it a whole lot. He don't have that many lines.
Yeah, and he's not.
But no one ever complains. Well, they didn't use Jack Russell to write in this movie. Yes, they did. He's perfect in this movie, but he don't have half the dialogue as he does in.
Yeah, well, and he's not in this one. He's not the action.
Death Trap.
Yeah, he's not the action star of like Escape from New York,
right.
Or the he's more of a.
I think they did that to keep like if they would have focused a lot on him, it would have.
But yeah, that would have. I mean, I'm not complaining that wasn't that.
If they would have focused on any one of the characters in particular, it wouldn't have been an even film.
You wouldn't. It wouldn't have created that.
But yeah, it's an absolute 10 for me. I was thinking this one or In the Mouth of Madness was probably going to be the only shots we ever had of a perfect 30.
Oh, I don't think so. I think there's plenty of movies out there.
Not that all three of us agree on this.
One was pretty close.
This one is. This one's 10-10-9.
I think we've had a 10-10-9.
I wanted to say
The Ritual?
Exorcist 3. Exorcist 3, I think, was.
Well, I think that you changed your vote on that. I think you gave that a 9 and said later on, why am I so afraid to give it a 10? It deserves it. You went on the whole thing.
It does deserve a 10. If I said 9, I was wrong.
But yeah, I know we never gave one out, and I was thinking one of these three between Prince of Darkness, Mouth of Madness, and this one.
We haven't hit a lot of big movies, though, man. There's a lot of big.
I guess if we ever did, maybe like Evil Dead 2 or
There might be, who
Maybe.
knows? If we ever tackle like the fucking Hellraiser movies, I don't in particular know that I like them or think that I like them. But if we ever
Most
did
overrated series.
maybe I would be like, wow, fucking Hellraiser 5 is great.
No, you wouldn't. Well, you might.
Maybe I would.
You might.
But what's next? What were we on next?
It Waits or Blood Harvest?
Let's do It Waits. That sounds all right.
Or do you want to drop to the bottom first? We'll drop to the bottom and then
I mean,
end
I'm
on
on
a...
it. Wait. So
Okay, we'll
I'm
do
on
It
it.
Waits.
Let's hit it.
2005. You can watch this, by the way, on Tubi.
Tubi.
And actually, you should check that out because there's some weird shit on there.
Yeah, Tubi's, if anybody doesn't have Tubi's free. It's got a shit ton of horror movies on it.
Yeah.
And a shit ton of ads.
There are ads,
That's why
which
it's free.
suck. But it's free.
And you don't really have to do much signing up because you can do it right through your Facebook.
It makes sucky movies even longer, like this one.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
that kind
Go
of
ahead.
shit is true. Summary for this film. A lone female park ranger tries to track down a vicious creature killing various people and terrorizing her at a remote national park. Now, the main star of this film, do you know what her big credit is? Her big moment to shine?
It Waits.
Well, yeah, I guess technically, but prior to this, what's that movie that parodies American Pie? Not Another Teen Movie. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember the the American Pie has that naked chick in it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a girl in Not Another Teen Movie called Areola. She's just naked. I think she probably doesn't talk much.
Areola?
Yeah, she's just naked. She's naked in class. So that's her big role before this, but she's the main focus of this fucking movie. Written by Richard Christian Matheson, Tom.
Not to be confused with the author. When I first seen the written by, screenplay by Richard Matheson, I was like, well, this might be good.
Not the guy that wrote I Am Legend.
No, but these guys wrote and conceived. Well, I guess not all of them, but Tom Sizol's. I can't even fucking read that, dude.
Clearly.
I can't. Stephen Cannell, who are storied television writers. They all wrote on the A-Team, Renegade, Incredible Hulk, 21 Jump Street, all the fucking cop shows from back then. This is directed by Stephen R. Monroe, who did the I Spit on Your Grave remakes and Exorcism of Molly Hartley, which I haven't seen any of that shit. So I don't know if it's good. Can't go based on that. People have been trying to get this movie made since the 70s.
Huh.
They had Tobe Hooper attached at one point. The script has been...
Well, he should have done it. It might have been worth watching.
There is, before we go too far, there's a lot of cool ideas in this movie.
There is.
Yeah, but before we go too far.
Before we go too far, I will lay that out. There are a lot of cool ideas in this movie.
They had Tobe Hooper attached to this at one point and Amblin Entertainment. So they were looking to get this made. The thing that he changed was the original script. It was a dude that was the main character, and there was no love relationship bullshit. So that was probably a mistake on my. I think.
Probably.
It felt like it was made by Cinemax, like a Cinemax. Yeah, that's. I don't care about the love story. That's the whole thing that killed it for me at the beginning. And that setting is really cool, man. Like, they could have when it's at night, you can't see out, but whatever's out there can see in. So it's like a lot of really paranoia type shit. The monster doesn't even look bad. It looks like a mix between Pumpkinhead and one of the orcs from Lord of the Rings.
A little bit like the Creeper.
Yeah, a little bit. It has wings. Yeah, I wrote, it waits. It's more like you waits to see this damn thing. Because they didn't even show, I think it would have been a little bit better.
You should, when you write jokes like that down, you should really just kind of deliver them off the cuff instead of saying, I wrote down to say during the show.
Okay, yeah, I did fucking write this down. This isn't a joke, but I wanted to remember this.
I believe you wrote it all down.
There are 3 fucking...
I can tell you're reading it.
I did write this down.
I'm watching you read it.
There are 3 songs in this movie And they're featured kind of like they feature music on Grey's Anatomy, where it's just like really loud, and at one point I had to turn the fucking stereo, my speakers down and shit. They are by Melanie Monroe. We all need to write her letters and tell her to stop it. Just stop it, man.
Write this down.
Write this down.
Marilyn Monroe.
Everybody,
email Marilyn Monroe. Tell her to quit writing music.
Melanie Monroe.
The first person that emails Frank Marilyn Monroe is going to get this movie here.
Oh yeah, email it to him.
Hocus Pocus.
You win a free copy, courtesy of Best Buy. We're sponsored by Best Buy now. Free copy of Hocus Pocus.
If you
email, what's the email
address?
LRHSpod@gmail.com. Put it on the screen
and just put Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
And thanks for the DVD, and you'll get it. I bet you won't fucking email though. I bet you won't. LRHSpod@gmail.com.
One of you guys can have it.
I don't want it.
But anyways, there's bad music, bad acting. The cinema, it's got a Cinemax softcore style cinematography. But I looked into the cinematography. I was trying to find the blame. I was like, what's making this bad? And I looked at the cinematographer's shit, and it's all solid. Everybody's pretty solid in here. But then I figured out that it was the original writer that changed it for the worse to put the love story in, to change that lead into a female character. And he can probably do whatever he wants with it since he wrote it. Since he wrote the original script, I would assume. Anyways, I really think if they would have chopped out the love story, it had a potential for a pretty good monster movie because of the setting. I think that the setting was pretty solid. I don't know how you can. The monster was good. I don't know where that's just the love story. Basically all I've got. I gave it a 4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10.
Well, you skipped over me at the beginning. So this does have a tagline. It hungers.
Last time you didn't have notes. That's why
it's changed now.
We're back to the format.
It hungers for human carnage, and it will wait no longer. Distributed by New Arc Entertainment and Anchor Bay, and this has a Blu-ray release from Anchor Bay in 2010. It's like $10, but that's about $9 too much for this movie. It started off good. Like the opening scene, you get a glimpse of the creature in the cave, and it looks decent.
The creature looks good.
I was like, all right, and then it goes downhill really fast. Like they're trying to portray these heavy emotions
so bad
going on. Like she killed her friend because she was driving drunk, and now is she up in this fire tower? Which it is a cool like setting.
It's a ranger tower in like a state park.
She's up there drinking and crying, and like it's just so much heavy emotion stuff, and it's awful.
And she's talking to a bird.
Like if you can pull it off, you can pull it off. Like Boys and Trees, that it worked in that movie for me. This is just like Cinemax. At times, I feel like I'm watching a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Like it's just.
I think they hit on. I think everything in the movie they hit on all good ideas, but
no.
But they never tied them together in a coherent way. Like
the only thing they hit on was the monster.
Well,
everything else is shit. The acting, the story.
Go ahead. I'll finish it.
Dang it, Jared.
Ooh.
And with the freaking love. What's with all the love making scenes?
Really
like I'm
long.
down for
That's
a sex scene in a movie, but you got romantic.
That's when that song comes on, man.
Yes, you got romantic music playing. Then she's crying in bed after sex, like again with the heavy emotion stuff. Like this movie just felt so weird.
Did you think it was strange? Like all of the choices that they were making all the time. When the guy's here's my gun. I'm gonna go into the woods. Whatever.
I thought maybe that the second act was going to pick up. No. Thought maybe something that's going to pay off at the end of the third act. Nothing. When it focuses on the monster, it's okay. But there's just too much wrong with this movie for me to enjoy the monster scenes. Horrible music, bad acting. The story wasn't good. I liked the setting too. The romance crap was awful, and there was not enough monster. I gave it a 3.
Damn. Whoa. Mine's not much higher. As I was saying, I think all the basic ideas, like if you boil them down to probably what the original ideas were.
Yeah.
I think everything in this movie was, at least at start, a good idea. I like the mythology behind the monster, but they don't do shit with it. Like, they just have what's his name show up in the camper and be like, "Hey, here's this," and that's like at the end of the movie.
He was a totally expositional character.
He should have been there since the beginning.
Right.
They should have played off the. I don't. Yeah, not that I don't mind it. It doesn't work in the movie. The idea that she's sad in the beginning and getting drunk because her friend dies, and you were kind of led to believe they were out drunk and they got into an accident because her friend was driving, but then you find out there's a reveal later that she was driving, so those are the heavy emotions. She killed her friend and let her dead friend take the blame for it, kind of deal. When, like, the guy was... And this is where all this shit falls flat. It is pointless in this movie, but I think there was an original nugget of an idea. Because the exposition character, there's like one line in there where he's talking about how the monster is drawn to her because she has this kind of, like, that
I don't care what it started out originally. What they did was garbage.
I understand, yes.
Okay, well, originally started out, they had to get
I understand.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is all the concepts there, I like all the concepts. You can do a movie where you have this monster that feeds on negative energy, that likes to play with people, and your main character is in this situation.
Well, yeah,
and everything
called Jeepers Creepers.
You can
Essentially, that's what this was, basically.
You can do that, and it's all good. And they had all the ideas there, but they didn't put them together well at all. And the whole idea of her getting in the crash with a friend, it ends up falling flat and feeling like a waste of time. Because they don't do anything with it other than exposition guy having one line.
Useless. Useless information.
The mythology of the monster, although was a cool idea, at the end just feels pointless and messy, even throwing this guy in to explain it, because they don't do with it. Like, they had a lot of ideas that
I don't
they
know
don't.
how you mess up a monster movie. I don't know how.
They don't do anything.
This bad, anyway.
This would have been really pretty good.
Like, if you don't know what you're doing, I can forgive you. But
and then,
like Frank said, on paper it seems they kind of had some stuff together and
it's
failed.
That's what I was saying. Like, the basis of it, they have a whole mythology for the monster, why it would be after this girl, story that would work. And all you have to do is
that must not have been very good either, because I forget it already.
The thing that I think happened,
the mythology of this monster.
It was,
what do you even call it?
It was a demon that was
it's from another dimension, and it's kind of like
it was locked up in a mountain.
Yeah, imbued with human emotions, and but yeah, it was, and it was all good, but they didn't do anything with it. All of that is just they
sacrificed that.
They spent a half hour on that whole her getting in a wreck thing. That way, when some random character in a camper shows up and it's like, you feeling weird, that's why this thing's trying to kill you, you'd be like, oh, but like it's just such a bad build up to it. Everything there you can do really well and make it impactful, and this doesn't.
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 5. I didn't mind it. It wasn't great. I don't think you need to go watch it.
The one thing I think, I don't think
not that far from yours.
I don't think
Jason.
the dude that
3
wrote
and 5 is a big difference.
I don't think the dude that wrote the original
and Frank was right in the middle.
I don't think the dude that wrote the original script is a bad writer, because he's the guy that conceived the greatest American hero. Man, he came up with he conceived the A-Team, conceived greatest American hero. What was the other things? He came up with all that shit. But I think
not award-winning writers.
But I think what happened was this thing had been sitting on the shelf for so fucking long, and then he brings it back out. He finally gets it back. I think it was in mixed up in production.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. It does feel like too many cooks in the kitchen. And a lot of ideas just stayed shoved in there, but no one did anything.
I think when he finally got it back and he looked at it, it was like kind of like if you think too much when you're fucking icing a cake, and then you end up with like too much icing in there.
Well, there is at least 3 writers. There's probably more if you get into it.
Yeah, it feels like that.
But
Yeah, I didn't have a horrible time watching it. I wasn't super entertained, but I didn't shut it off saying, "Wow, that was terrible."
So what are we on to next? Blood Harvest? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
All right. Well, if anybody watched this with us, I doubt anybody watches things with us, but I'm sorry. I just want to apologize to everybody. This wasn't what I wanted. I can tell you what I wanted. Tiny Tim as a killer clown. Because that dude's weird. But no, it's Nightmare, aka Blood Harvest. You can watch this on Shudder if you care to waste some of your time. Summary: in a small town, people are being murdered by having their throats cut. Directed by Bill Redbane. I don't know what else he did. Written by Chris Villar, William Arthur Benson, and Emil. Joseph.
Let's give this one 4. Right.
Yeah. Terrible fucking editing. Oh my god, that was the first thing. But I kind of enjoy the soundtrack, but that's because it's written by an award-winning composer. I even kind of enjoy the Tiny Tim songs a little bit. I gotta admit, they're kind of weird, and if they would have done this right, it could have been good, I think, or at least as good as Luther the Geek for me, which is a 10. Of course.
I feel like it's already about as good as Luther the Geek.
Fairly boring movie throughout the first half. Around the 40-minute mark, things start to get mildly interesting when the boyfriend gets smashed with a bat. But they dip right back into boring town. From the beginning, like as soon as you find out that these two dudes are brothers, I knew that it was the brother that was the killer, like right away. Such a badly written piece of shit.
And if Frank catches on to it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Insane amounts of pointless nudity, though. So, I mean, I don't want to be a party pooper or anything.
Some full frontal, huh?
A bush and everything.
80s bush.
This girl gets dressed and undressed so much that it's kind of pointless in some way, right? I mean, and she's just literally taking her clothes. I mean, why is she so comfortable just sleeping in this house? Because her parents are missing. Like, there's no. When she comes home, there's spray paint all over. There's an effigy hanging in the hallway.
Did you give a summary?
Oh yeah, it's in a small town, people are being murdered by having their throats cut.
That's the summary?
That's it.
That's not really summary. So,
that's a terrible job.
A girl comes home from
man.
college or whatever. There's spray paint all over her house because her father's works at the bank and he's foreclosing on the farms around the area. So they're calling him thief, and they hang up a dead body mannequin thing in the house, and so they're just messing with him. So the parents are gone.
Yeah. And there's this weird clown, which is Tiny Tim, who's always being weird, creeping around the house. And her ex-boyfriend, who is the Mervo's the clown, Tiny Tim's name, his brother. But yeah, this and she has a real boyfriend that comes and visits her at some point. But it's just such a fucking bad movie, man. The movie should have been called The Blue Jean Killer. Because this dude,
you're making me depressed, dude.
It was bad, dude.
What'd you rate it?
3 out of 10, man.
You're depressing.
Yeah.
Go on, Jason.
I'm surprised to hear all this. I kind of really enjoyed this movie. Tiny Tim is really good in this movie. Like, he's weird and creepy enough on his own to where you toss him in a horror movie, you have your character right there. Didn't even necessarily need to add any clown paint or anything to him. Just him creeping around, singing, and I liked it. I think it even warns you in the beginning. I think I remember seeing it, but there are extreme hard cuts in this movie. Like, it'll just skip right to the
boom.
So it does have some flaws. Very low budget. And more love-making scenes. First, we seem to be on a sad movie kick, and now
this is a sad movie, man.
Love-making scenes. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there was so much nudity.
Just about every scene that happened in the barn, I thought was great. There's some really good really good things that they do in there with tying the victims up and just the struggles that go on in the barn. And a barn is a good horror setting.
I like the look of it a lot. It looks like that grain of film or whatever they use. It's just good.
Yeah, it's again, lots of bad editing, lots of issues going on. Pretty much I thought the acting was bad overall, except for Tiny Tim. Like I love his weirdness and his character. The story's completely broken. I don't know what's cinematography. None. Like, it's point and shoot. Like, set the camera up, film this, and skip right to the next scene. The strange songs, Tiny Tim singing, that works for me. Decent practical effects. I thought they were all right. It's a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. I actually give it a 6, going on a 7.
Wow.
This comes
That's
out.
weird, huh?
This comes out on
Some surprises.
on Blu-ray October 30th by Vinegar Syndrome. Right now, it's got a price on it of about $35. So I don't think it's that good. And like even the DVDs out of print and the used copies around $20. So
I would buy a poster. I think the cover art that I saw was really cool for this. But
It's completely thrown me, both of you.
yeah,
Well,
I
not
liked it.
Frank. I would have been surprised if you hadn't already apologized like the day you watched.
Well, that's what
it.
really threw me off. Like I was expecting, like if Frank's saying he's sorry for a movie, this has to be
it
awful. And then
reminded me of Luther. That's
he
why.
even said
Maybe
you
that's-
may end up liking it, and I did.
Maybe that's what it was. Is you didn't go in expecting anything. You went in expecting
Awful.
trash. And you're like, oh, this isn't. It's like
It
he
was
gave
awful.
Luther the Geek a 10. What the fuck is this?
Oh, this is way better than Luther the Geek. Oh my God.
All about preferences, man.
Yeah.
I don't know they're really similar in a lot of ways, but I don't know. The editing was so unforgivable in so many places.
But I think it warned you, so I think I was expecting that too. So I wasn't caught off. I wasn't caught off guard by
what
that.
surprised me on your end, especially Jason, is when you went through and read through everything. It's like, okay, the cinematography's crap. Okay, it doesn't look good. The acting is poor. The story doesn't work. You pretty much went through and said everything is bad.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like
I'll give it a 7.
Like
a 6.
I'm starting to infect
the
him.
way. No, I think no. The way it looks.
Sometimes
the practical effects, Tiny Tim. Like there's also a lot of good things about. It's completely broken.
Yeah,
But
sometimes
like you want to talk
trash-
about a movie that. Yeah, they had everything right there.
Sometimes trash works for people. I
Yeah,
get it.
no, that's good.
I
6. It's a 6.
not quite as low as Frank. I gave it a 4. For pretty much all the reasons that we went through and everything bad. Tiny Tim is the reason it carries a 4. If you pull Tiny Tim out of this movie, it's garbage.
Awful. No, I agree with that. And I think it's worth watching just for Tiny Tim. I am not certain.
Just for the oddity.
I'm not going to go out and spend $35 on Blu-ray,
It's not.
but it's worth watching.
It's not one I would recommend unless I know someone who's like, I think Tiny Tim's funny to watch. Then I would be like, well, that's worth your time then.
Someone that likes bad movies. There's a lot of people out there that like bad, cheesy movies.
I do.
Which
And
is Frank, and he didn't like this one
Yeah.
either. So
That's
who
what I'm
knows?
saying. I like those.
Just
and
watch it.
I wonder what it would look like on Blu-ray, though. That seems like if they made it.
It ain't gonna help the rest of it.
Oh,
But I gave it a 4, and all 4 points is just Tiny Tim chucking the whole movie on his shoulders and carrying it because it's weird.
And I seen just like 1 or 2 questions on camera while he was on set. Them talking to him, asking him about the movie, how he thought it was going. He's just such a weirdo.
Are they treating you well up here at Irma,
I
Wisconsin?
can't complain, yes.
So what do you think about your first major role in a motion
Well,
picture?
it looks good to me. Hope it looks good for the viewers.
Are you happy with the role?
Very happy.
Is it a character that you think...
I've always wanted to play.
Tell us about Merle. Tell us...
What about him?
Yeah.
Well, he's somebody's brother who's a little off.
It is a middle, it's element.
And I'll have to tell you the rest of the story. Unfortunately, it will disturb the movie. But when you pay your admission, you know you can find out the rest.
He should have done so many more movies. Like,
if you ever want to see some cool shit or hear some cool shit, go back and look up Howard Stern when he came on, because he would just go on there and talk about products that he loved. He'd be like, Bounty paper towels, they're the best. I just love them so much. It was just such a fucking oddity, and he didn't like people to touch him either. So
I think I will watch that. I don't know. He's just a weird man.
Yeah, that's what made me want to check it out, was how fucking crazy and weird he is.
But yeah, it felt like a slog to me.
What'd you give this?
3.
Yeah, 3.
I gave it a 4.
That's weird.
You guys are low.
Weird stuff.
Check this movie out.
What's our last film? I can't remember what we were going with.
You may not be low.
Teeth or Phantasm?
Let's do Phantasm.
Phantasm, Ravager.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm done talking about this movie.
No.
All right. Well,
I think no, it is. It is. You pointing out the fact that I was pointing out everything that was wrong with it. He's still giving it a good score. It's not a 6 or 7, but I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it like a 6 or 7.
This is one of the times where
one man's
I'm
trash.
using that card.
One man's trash is another man's soap.
Yeah,
I use that card almost every time.
Right,
So,
and I hardly use it, and I'm using mine.
I'm using mine. It's a garbage movie. I'm using my card to say it's good.
But I like it.
Phantasm Ravager from 2016. Now this is
You voted.
This is the 5th movie in the Phantasm franchise. Before we go any further in it, what other ones have you seen them all?
Seen 1.
I've went from 1 to this one.
Yeah,
So,
as did I.
I feel like I'm missing a lot of things. They seem to reference the other films on a regular basis throughout this one.
I didn't feel lost. I think they do a good job at the beginning, although
I was lost when I watched the first one. Still probably don't understand what exactly.
Although it's cheesy as shit, the way they do the beginning with like the walking down a dirt road narrating the last 5 movies. It's cheesy as shit. I appreciate it because I've only watched 1. And so
2 and 3 are great.
I felt caught up.
I don't remember 4 at all.
I saw an article that just said that 3 and 4 are movies you shouldn't miss if you haven't watched them. So they must hidden gems.
Maybe I didn't watch 4.
See, I still don't think I understand what happened in the first one. This summary isn't going to tell you anything. The final installation of the Phantasm series. So that's it.
That's the summary?
That's all it had on IMDb. And so, first of all, can anybody explain what is happening in Phantasm? In the realm of Phantasm, there's the tall man, who is a
alien type guy,
magician, a magic guy?
Alien,
necromancer,
alien type guy,
and he has minions that look like, fucking from Star Wars. Jared, what are those things?
Oh, Jawa.
Is that what they are? Yeah. Tusken Raiders.
Tusken Raiders, or the little ones?
There's both, really, in this movie.
I was thinking the little people in cloaks. Those look like Jawas.
Well, whenever the good guys come in, the team of good guys with the midget, they are dressed very much like Tusken Raiders, I thought.
Yeah. I was thinking at the end when everybody was in brown cloaks.
Those things that's
Jawas.
That were in the first one were like Jawas, I always thought. But
yeah, it just takes place across different dimensions.
Yeah, basically, they've used the same cast too in all the movies, right?
Yeah.
Same.
And the main guy is kind of, you see him dipping in and out of.
Yeah, there's 2
alternate dimensions. There's more than 2. There's one where he's on the dirt road. There's one where he's in the.
No, the tall man and then the bald dude.
Oh,
from the original.
And the from the original, that boy is the guy. Mike.
Oh yeah.
He's he's right. They're old as fuck now, man. But I guess there was a big gap there because the first one was late 70s, right?
Yeah.
So it's written by Don Coscarelli, who's done all of these. He also wrote Bubba Hotep.
Did he write this?
Yeah, it said he did. That's the only.
I guess he has to have a writing credit, but I don't.
Well, maybe it was David Hartman.
I have 4 writers, but he's not one of them.
Oh, I don't. I only have 2.
No, I don't. I'm still on Blood Harvest. Actually, I don't even have notes for this freaking movie.
I have the Tiny Tim carried this movie.
I ain't ready to move on yet. I like the movie.
Tiny Tim did a good
I
job.
was just getting ready to say that.
The thing I think was weird about this movie is in the Phantasm movies there are these orbs. Is that what they're called? The orbs?
Sure, spheres.
Spheres, these metal spheres that have like spikes on them, and they stick people in the head and drill. And I think they looked better in the 70s, right? Did you guys think that? The CGI was whack, except for when the horse gets killed. That was goddamn great. That was one of the best things I watched in this whole series of movies that we watched.
What'd he say? I seen you put up a...
He said, dude, I got some bad news about your horse. Because this thing just stabs it in the head. It's a CGI horse. Man, talk about CGI animals. We had quite a few in this bunch. Yeah, it's... I like this movie. I had fun with it. It seemed like an 80s action movie. Is it just me, or did the dude have a fucking katana in his backpack that he never once used?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I saw a katana. Is it a katana? A hobage?
It's Mater.
To a katana?
Matra.
It kept saying Mater. It says Mater on the screen.
But I swear he had a fucking katana and he never pulled it out. Angus Scrim is great when you get that nice long scene with him in the middle where they're in like the white room. And then when he pulls the Matrix shit where he multiplies himself. The highlights for this movie: Reggie's Pony Knob. There's a steampunk midget named Chunk. The soundtrack is by the dude that did Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. He also did all the other Phantasm movies, but how about that?
There you go.
He did a lot of shit. The guy that did the soundtrack did those movies. He did Swamp Thing, Ticks, Phantasm 3, Monsters, all this shit. Walker, Texas Ranger. That fucking katana, man. I couldn't get past it. I mentioned it twice in here. Has he used it in past movies? That's what I asked, because he's carrying it around. Oh man. Anyways, the ending was really cool, except for the bothersome video game style CG background, whatever it was. It just seemed old. 6 out of 10. I think I need to watch the other films. Maybe it would.
Yeah, one. I guess maybe the reason why you didn't even understand much of what was going on, even without watching the other ones, is there's not much of a story to this one. Like 1 through 3 is really good. I can't remember 4 at all. Maybe I haven't seen 4, but I definitely go back and check 1 through 3. This one, compared to those, is garbage. Like, this was so disappointing. This was my pick to throw up for people to vote on. I was like, yes, I'll watch another Phantasm movie. So 4 is either okay or maybe it sucks and I just haven't seen it. But this one, compared to the others, are garbage. I don't even know really what to say. I mean, there was nothing that really happened.
Did you have?
I mean, he's riding around in a car.
Could you tell what was real and what was fake, or what was his imagination? Because I had a really hard time.
I believe the idea that nothing is fake.
Everything,
like when the tall man says, "I'm in 10,000 different dimensions," you couldn't even understand. Like, I believe this is just kind of a more from that concept of it is. He is what his workings that he's working. He's doing from many different dimensions across parallel universes, and what you see is this guy in these 4. Is it 4?
I don't know.
4 to 5. There's the one
couple.
where there's the one where he's in the hospital and has dementia. Mike says he has dementia. There's the post-apocalyptic world. There's the one where he's driving down the dirt road. Seems like there's another one. But you see him, like, he seems to be the only one doing it, though. But, like, his consciousness is flowing, through different dimensions, kind of chasing the tall man.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of them are fake. These are just all different outcomes in different dimensions. In one, they blew the tall man up, and then in another one,
it's a cat mouse game, and nothing. There's no story to it. Like,
Yeah, it's
just the spheres killing people and him trying to kill the spheres. Like
it seemed to like almost like they were directed, like they were trying to get you to think that maybe it was all just happening inside of Reggie's head, like he was a demented old man, and maybe the whole thing was just in his head. Like maybe he was just his imagination.
I didn't get that at all.
No, I think that's one. I think it's just two or three things going on at once.
Yeah, he's just. I think it's just he's just.
Or him jumping around. Somehow.
He's just one of the only people that can. Somehow his consciousness can travel through these different dimensions. So he's seeing
Watch
and
the first
remembering.
3.
What did you give this?
Forget this one. I didn't give it nothing yet. I would 4.
Yeah.
I had fun with it. You're right. There isn't. I mean, there's a story, but it's really disjointed. You kind of
and there's no atmosphere. There's freaking atmosphere in the first one. There's cool setting. This is.
I like the post-apocalyptic world and everything going on in there. That really reminded me of like crazy 80s with the kind of things where you have armies fighting mutated monsters in hell worlds after humanity has ruined everything. It gave me that kind of. So I like that aspect of it. The jumping is always going to be, I think, disjointed when you try to do something like that. You have one character in alternate dimensions kind of linking through. So it was a little disjointed, but I thought it was fun. I know I've watched, I don't know which ones, I know I've watched more than the first Phantasm. The first Phantasm's just the only one I remember watching. This one made me say, man, I should go back and watch the other ones again. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought,
what are you looking at?
I heard something.
I was tapping him.
Oh shit! I thought somebody was walking out the way.
So
don't walk up on me, motherfucker.
So yeah, it's pretty out there and gets a little slow here and there and disjointed, but I had fun and I gave it a 7.
Yeah. All right.
7.
It made me want to go back and watch the other ones.
Wow. Well, I wanted to mention one more thing before we wrap this episode up. I had we put a poll up, favorite movie of 2001, and everybody kind of agreed too much for me to do like a top 10, because it's like out of the 13 Ghosts just blows everything. Everybody fucking loved that one, seemingly.
I thought it was what we had seen. I thought we were supposed to click on everything we've seen.
This one you could only click on one, and you had to pick your favorite.
I think 2008 was
2008 was a different poll.
Oh.
But this one was 2001, your favorite movies. 13 Ghosts was number 1 with a bullet. Cradle of Fear, number 2. And you seem to not like that people enjoyed that one. And then after
garbage.
After that, there's like
bologna sandwich. For
third place, it's Jeepers Creepers, Brotherhood of the Wolf, Session 9, Hannibal, The Devil's Backbone, and The Others are all equal voting. Which I think that's a little off. I mean, I haven't seen them all, but
are either of you big on 13 Ghosts?
I like it a lot.
People seem to be a lot more.
A lot, or just like it's
like
all right.
out of this group.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it. I was like, well, I remember not hating it.
Like I think we've had this conversation on there about 13. Something we discussed.
But yeah, I was like, whoa, people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
The ghosts
like that
are. I think they're awesome.
And they honestly, get defensive if you tell them it's
on this list.
It's okay.
On this list,
Jason's calling you guys out.
It would have been my second pick. Yeah. But anyways, thanks for watching and listening, whatever you did. If you want to email us, we'll do the mailbag. LRHSpod at gmail.com.
Can't do mailbag without no emails.
What was the word?
If you send in an email,
Marilyn Monroe.
Monty Monroe.
If you
Mervo the Clown.
If you send me an email, I dare you. I dare you.
If you send him an email, you'll be the only one. And it doesn't even matter what you say.
Just if you want it, email Frank and say
if you want it, come and get it.
If not, I'm giving it to someone else.
Yeah. We'll see you next time, guys.